NScaler454 here. Welcome back to the channel. I have always loved the red CP rail multi-mark locomotives, particularly the SD40-2. It's what I remember growing up as a kid, and I still love them to this day. So I just had to buy one. In fact, I bought two. I just couldn't help it. These are a Broadway Limited Imports product, N-Scale, DCC with sound, Paragon 4. So let's take a look at them. Stay tuned. Let's pop this thing open and see what it looks like. BLI always does a very good job with the packaging. Give this a little pull. And we'll roll it, I guess. And whoop. Out we come. Plenty of foam on it. The SD40-2 was kind of the main locomotive power in the 80s, I guess maybe even into the early 90s. And they're 3,000 horsepower. While they don't have the same kind of power like you'll see in today's modern locomotives, these still look amazingly good. And isn't that why I love it so much? Oh, yes, I think that looks just fantastic. Taking a look at the details, starting with the paint, I really do like this shade of red. Is it accurate to real-life CP rail? I couldn't tell you. This is kind of a matte finish, but almost a semi-gloss, as if you shine it against the light, it will somewhat reflect. I have seen other examples of CP rails where the red is very, like a deep, bright red and a glossy finish. And I've seen some versions that are kind of a pinkish shade in a matte finish, and I feel this is somewhere in between, and I really like it. The multi-mark Pac-Man in the back there, trademark to what everybody remembers from this era, and I just love that. I would say it's not completely sharp, but overall I wouldn't say it's too much of a hindrance. The decals on the side here and here definitely look fine. The stripes on the back might be a little bit sharper than the logo right here, and I would say the white almost looks like a different shade than this one, but overall you can't really tell, and when it's on the rail you'll never be able to tell. So I think that's okay as well. The handrails are made of plastic, and I will say they aren't quite the same shade as the red right here, but again, it's not too significant. You're not going to notice it too much, but you can definitely tell when it's over in this in the back area against the black. I would also say the detail of these railings on the back as well as the front, yeah, that could be a little bit better. Maybe it's something that you can touch up with your own paint or whatever, but I would say that's could be better. The top of the locomotive is one of the highlights. There's a lot of detail in the radiator fans, plenty of depth. I think if you're going to do some weathering, this would take the blacks really, really well. Same thing with the exhaust right here. A lot of depth in there. You can see the rivets along the top just fine. Looks great. Now this body has three different pieces. One for the cab, one for the main body, and one for this central part right here. And there actually is a difference in the shade of red between here and here. It's not bad. I think if you're looking at it from a distance, you will never notice it, but it does exist. The height of the radiator fans is quite tall. Maybe that's normal and it's just an illusion, but they're up there. The grills right here, fantastic. Again, plenty of depth all along all these edges. I like it a lot. Same thing with all the little seams and lines in the body. A lot of depth in there. Again, this locomotive would take weathering so good. I hope to do that one day in the future. Decals, good detail, nothing wrong with it. Crisp on the CP rail. There's a little warning or whatever information decal right here. You don't see that really anywhere else in the locomotive, which maybe that's normal to the era, but yeah, maybe I would have liked to see a couple more here and there, but overall, I'd say it's still pretty good. I think the trucks look really good. There's some fine details going on in here. You can even see some of the little bolts and whatnot, so I think those look great as well. The fuel tank, We have some good detail in this area right here, but for the rest of it, it is just plain plastic, but what do you expect from that? We do have a textured finish in the molding of the plastic right here, so that's good. The windows all look top notch. We have some painting of silver along the trim as well as right here, so all that looks great. The stairs, nice little details. We even have some painting on the edges, so that looks great. I really like that the locomotive has plows front and rear, though I would like to see some hoses coming through instead of just in the back where you can't really see them. The coupler, that's all fine, but a little more detail would have been nice. One thing I really do love is ditch lights. I love ditch lights. I think that's super awesome, so I can't wait to try those out. As for everything else, the bottom, well, you can expect it to be just what it is. You can see where the speaker is. I really like that there is a detail feature between the trucks and the fuel tanks front and rear, and that fills that gap because I have seen some locomotives out there that have this big gap. You can see right through it and it looks a little funky, so I feel like this is all really proportionally correct. We'll throw it on the scale to see how much it weighs. It feels relatively heavy, so let's see what we got. Is that 87 grams? I actually felt like it might have been a little heavier than that. I thought it was going to be closer to 100, but yeah, it's still not bad. Well, it certainly looks really good, but let's take it down to the layout and see how it performs. Straight out of the box, onto the layout. We have this set to 03. Apparently it turns on the cab light. Ooh, there's something issue. We have an issue already, guys. We have an issue already. You can see the pulsation as I move, and you can actually hear it. That is unfortunate. We'll go through the sounds, and fortunately they give you this little card that tells you what buttons to push. There's a standard mode and a pro mode. And all you have to do is change your CV128 to 1 if you want pro, and default is number 2 for standard. We'll start the engine up. You gotta hand it to BLI for how loud their speakers are. Really good. We'll go through the list of sounds, starting with function 1. That's a dynamic brake or compressor. You can rev the engine up, I guess. Bit of a delay, but it does work. I'll rev the engine down. Alright, we have a cooling fan. Then an air fill and air release. And a brake set. And of course, F8 will do your mute. One thing I gotta do is turn that cab light off, and apparently according to the card, it says I can do that function F10 once I'm in Pro mode, so I might try that a bit later. And of course, we have to shut the engine off. Sounds pretty good. See what it sounds like while moving. Again, it seems like a bit of a delay. Cab light went out. I think the cab light turns off when it's moving. That's interesting. There's definitely some pretty big delays with the sound. We'll test out the lights on the top and the ditch lights. I do like that. And of course the back. That is a weird sound. And it does it in forwards or reverse. We'll run it through the turnouts, where honestly I don't have a lot of confidence so far. But I did clean the track and tested it with the trusty Atlas GP40. And that runs perfectly, so I know the track is good. I don't know why the RPMs just climb like that. Been a steady power 3 this whole way through, but it is making it. Aha! You cut off. Well, surprisingly, it did make it through. I put the other locomotive on, number 5692, to see if it runs any better. It's definitely a lot smoother. It doesn't have that weird grinding kind of noise going on, so that's good. But I am still getting some weird issues with the sound where it's kind of erratic. I'll be going at a constant speed and all of a sudden it'll sound like the RPMs decrease. It's a little weird. Not sure what's going on about that. Let's see if it happens here. Alright there, see? Why is that changing RPMs when it's at a constant speed? I don't like that. So what I'll do is I think I'll clean the wheels up and see if it makes any kind of difference. This is a trick that Atlas told me how to do. Is you put the one set of wheels on a alcohol-soaked paper towel, keep it steady, and you just spin the wheels. Then when you stop having marks on your rag, you know your wheels are clean. Well, I can't say it's gotten any better. I still get these random slowdowns. Our sound is still erratic, just like you just saw. But going through turnouts, sometimes it decides to give a delay maybe a momentary shut-off. Sometimes it stops. And I thought these are supposed to have a keep alive, so I don't know if that's working properly or not, but I don't know. So there goes the sound again. On to the pull test, where it is a 16.5-inch radius, 2% grade. We've got 6 cars on it, which are the Rapidos. Quite heavy. I do expect it to pull a good 8 of them, but yeah, we'll see how it does. We're on power setting 10 at the moment. And of course, this was easy peasy. We're straight on to 8 Rapido cars. We'll see if it pulls this up like I expect. Still on power 10. Dare I say there's a bit of a struggle going on. But it does make it up, so that's great. Here we are coming up with 9, and now I'm at power 17. Give it a good run up the hill. So far, so good. Oh, I spoke too soon. Maybe not. Maybe it is going to make it. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Not too bad. We're up to 10 cars, power 20. I don't know if it's going to make it. Got through the first part okay. This is where it gets tough. Oh, that's it. That is it. A quick attempt at power 28. Give it all kinds of momentum. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. Nope, not happening. 9 cars is all she wrote. As we let this locomotive run around the layout, let's give this BLI SD40-2 some ratings. Starting with detail, I think this is an awesome looking locomotive, but I am a little partial to CP Rail multimark SD40-2s. I think they just look so cool. The overall detail is good. I like all of the, markings in the shell. I think the radiators and whatnot, they all look great, but there are better examples out there. The railings are a little bit dull. I wish we could have seen a little bit more detail in that. Same thing with the hoses on the plow. I wish that was shining through a little bit. A little bit more detail there would have been great. The lights, the main lights are very bright. I think they're awesome. The ditch lights, not as bright, but a very welcome addition. I love ditch lights. I think they're really cool. So overall, I am giving this a 7.5 out of 10. For sound, I may have judged this prematurely. You can always count on BLI for giving you volume. It is very loud, and I like that. For a locomotive like this, I want it to stand out, and it really does. The audio files themselves, very, very good. I like it all. It's just the programming and how it gets put together. I feel like there are times when it seems a little bit erratic, a little bit weird. But then I discovered while running around the layout that it is load sensitive. And that is an interesting feature that can be really cool while it's running around a layout just as it is right now. You'll see as I'm coming up to this hill, it's going to detect some load and you'll hear the RPMs ramp up. There it goes. And that's pretty darn cool as it does laps around a layout. As we climb the hill here, we're going to hear it ramp up again. As it comes down the hill, we should hear it ramp down to almost an idle. So it's a very cool feature. However, there are some annoyances with it, because if I'm doing some work through a yard or doing some back and forths, the audio kind of goes up and down, and it's not linear to your controls, and that's what I would like a little bit more of. So maybe this needs some refinement, but overall I would have to say the sound is also a 7.5 out of 10. Performance, well, I'd have to say when it's working properly, that it's working really well. And it definitely operates around a layout exceptionally good. It's very smooth. It pulls nice. I mean, we got up to 9 cars with these heavy Rapido tank cars, so it performs really good. No complaints there. However, I do find that sometimes it's a little bit finicky through turnouts, and once in a while it'll give me it'll stop or give me some momentary loss of power, and that's a little surprising, given this is a 6-axle locomotive, and I also thought that there was supposed to be a keep alive in it. That maybe I'm expecting it to work a little better than it is. Another thing worth mentioning is the transition between speed setting 0 and speed setting 1 could be a little bit better. You can see it's quite a jump. So this isn't a great locomotive for doing switching, but I mean, it's an SD40, so you're really more focused on, mainline work. So for performance, I'm giving it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Quality control. Well, the benefit of buying 2 of the same locomotives at the same time is you get to see if there's any differences between the two. And in this case, there is. And BLI has a reputation of poor quality control, and what do you know, that has shown up once again. If we rank the good one, it's what, maybe 8 out of 10? Well, what's the bad one? 3 or 4 out of 10? So if we combine those, what do we got? 5.5 out of 10? BLI needs to do better, considering these are priced at the same amount as, say, locomotives like Kato or Intermountain. Not good enough. So what do we give this for an overall rating? Well, it looks good, it sounds good, and it pulls good, but there are a few gremlins that could use some heavy refinement, and it's a 50-50 shot if you get a good one or a bad one. And because of this, I can only rate this a 7 out of 10. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and as always, thanks for watching.